What happens when you combine tactic videos and rebuild videos? Tactical rebuild. That's right, I've given it the name and I'm actually buzzing for this new series. Essentially, it is going to be a rebuild, but with a big tactical approach. So in this video, you're going to most likely see between 3 to 4 very different tactics in terms of the formation might change, or it might just be a little tweak here and there. But essentially, you're going to have 3 or 4 tactics you can copy. Obviously, if you're a Patreon member, you're going to get all of the tactic files shown in today's video. And also, you are going to get that rebuild file, so be sure to join that. The link is going to be in the description below. But let me know what you think of this new series, and if you are enjoying it, as you go on through the video, be sure to smash the like button and also comment on a future team you want to see me rebuild. Maybe it's your team you support, maybe it's a hard team. Let me know in the comments. But let's talk a little bit about our project here at Manchester United. So, the project here with Manchester United is very simple. Take a team that is struggling, as they are in real life at the moment, and over 5 seasons see what we can do with them. Now, ideally, I've got a goal in my head, which I will announce. I'm not going to keep it secret information. That is going to be to win the Champions League and the Premier League in them 5 seasons. Now, it doesn't mean all in one season. Just get them 2 ticked off and I'll be happy. Obviously, get a few of the deadwood players out the squad as well. Now, what I have done, since this is the first time I've done this on this channel, I don't have much of a boring first season. I've actually done the first transfer window, so I'm going to show you some signings right now. But I do want to make this very clear again for the tactical viewers. I appreciate you watching these style of videos, and there is going to be a very detailed tactic breakdown as we go on. But I will say, the first tactic you see is not going to be the only tactic, so don't click off after that, because there is going to be lots of tactics we're going to talk about through this video, and there might be one you prefer later on down the line. So be sure to stick around, but let's go into that first transfer window, and I'll explain what my thought process was behind each player. The first player I'm going to bring in is going to be Cristian Romero, a fantastic Argentinian centre-half to go next to Lisandro Martinez, and for the price we paid for him, I'm more than happy to do so. It was £65 million, we'll see that very shortly, and I just think it's a bit of an upgrade on the other options we've got. We've got to try and offload Varane, possibly Lindelof as well, and Maguire if we can do so, and I think at the age of 25, this is a great addition to that back line, and I would argue now, alongside Lisandro Martinez, we've got 2 very strong centre-halves that are ready to play football. You can see here how much we paid for him. It's going to be £60 million actually, bang on, not 65. So Tottenham did turn a little bit of a profit after they did pay £43 million for him. But I just feel like as centre-backs go, it's quite good to sign one that obviously has got experience, played for some big teams as well, obviously Juventus, Genoa, Atalanta, Tottenham, and he's played in the Premier League, which is a massive perk of signing an experienced player. So for £60 million, I don't really think you can go too wrong. Next is going to be an FM favourite, probably of yours and of mine. It is going to be Vanderson at right back. A very controversial decision because I know we have got Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Diego Dallo, but at some point I want to get rid of one of them and bring in a first team right back. And that's exactly where this guy is going to hopefully come in and prove to be the real deal. Now, he's only 22 years of age and he's got tons of potential as well. He did set me back a fair whack, to be honest. He set me back 26.5 million, which, to be honest, for a lot of people, they might think that's quite cheap. For what I'm sort of trying to spend on the right back, I'll be honest, it was a little bit too expensive, but I got the deal done. Obviously, Monaco made a little tiny profit as well, so only spending 9.5 million when they purchased him in 2021, but 26.5 million should hopefully, we should get that money back for Dallo or Wan-Bissaka. We'll have to see. Lastly, arguably the most versatile player on FM, that is going to be Lutzstrahl Gertrude. Hopefully I've said that right. I do apologise to any Dutch viewers if I have butchered that, and essentially the reasoning behind this guy is the versatility. Yes, he's an incredible centre-back. Yes, he's an incredible right-back. Yes, he can play in DM, and he can also play as a right wing-back if I wanted him to do so. But essentially, because we are going to have a lot of players that are going to go out in this team, the likes of Maguire, Lindelof, possibly Dallo and Wan-Bissaka can go now as well, because I'm not really a massive fan of either of those going forwards. I am thinking 5 years into the future. I feel like this guy is going to be a good player to have because we possibly might not have to sign another player and spend some of that money, which we can then use in another area, because this player here can cover literally 4 positions. So I'm hoping he is everything that I paid for him because we paid £45 million for him. Obviously, Feyenoord, born and raised, absolute icon over there. Had a fantastic fantastic career building himself up, and he finally does get his move to the Premier League. But his stats off the bat actually look really well balanced. So in my opinion, he can play literally anywhere. Wherever I'm clicking on this screen, he looks really balanced. So hopefully he gets into the team right away. But now, as you can see, the players going out Now, we have got quite a fair few. You can see here, obviously, Varane is going to go to Al Nassr for £44 million. A fantastic sale there. A lot of cashola obviously helped fund some of these players originally, which is really good to see. A few players going out on loan, the likes of Shortier, Forson, Gore, etc., etc. Joe Hugel, I don't really believe he had too much going for him, so I did offload him to Luton. Johnny Evans goes to Real Sociedad on loan with a purchase option, so hopefully he goes permanently. Now, Tottenham took a couple of our players, as we took a couple of theirs, obviously in Reguilon and also Romero. It is going to be Wan-Bissaka, who goes for £38.5 million. Now, when you're getting offered that type of money, you have to sell him, in my opinion, because we brought in arguably a better right-back already, so therefore it's quite an easy decision. And also, Victor Lindelof is going to go out for £17.5 million, making this Romero signing even more crucial. So I'm actually quite buzzing. £144 million going out, £301 million spent. Obviously, some of these were already done, so Hoyland, obviously Mason Mount, Onana, etc., etc. But overall, it's a very strong window. Question is, what tactic have we got to use? And this is going to be V1. That is right. The first variant of the tactic, it is going to be a 4-2-3-1, almost a sort of Ten Hag-based 4-2-3-1. Not 100% like that, though. And I have gone quite risk-free in this first season, just to get a feel for the team, to be honest with you. So we are going to have a look. It's going to be Onana, the sweeper keeper, who is going to be on attack. A complete wing-back on the right on support, on close down more and tackle harder. A ball-playing defender, simply on the default. Another ball-playing defender, again simply on the default. An inverted wing-back is going to come in on close down more and also tackle harder. In the midfield, a ball and midfield player on defend, and next to him, a box-to-box on support. This two here, I'm really looking forward to this, because Mason Mount and Casemiro, I really think are going to actually perform really well inside of FM. I am giving Jadon Sancho a chance on the right-hand side, a winger on pass at shorter on support. Bruno Fernandes comes in on the default instructions as an attacker midfielder. Marcus Rashford on the left, again, we're not going to sell him. A winger on attack on pass at shorter, and Anthony Martial or Hoyland is going to be the advanced forward on attack on pass at shorter and roam from position alongside of tackle harder. Now, going over to the team instructions, we are going to see right here, this is going to be a positive mentality, by the way. We're going to go quite heavy on the wing, so we are going to focus to play down the left and the right hand side. We're going to overlap left, we're going to overlap right as well. We're going to pass the ball into space. Directness, we're going to keep it a little bit shorter on this occasion with that higher tempo. We're going to work the ball into the box and apply mixed crosses. In transition, very similar story. The counter-pressing style, counter when the ball has been won, very meta-based instructions. We're going to distribute to the centre-backs and the full-backs, all while taking short goal kicks. And to finish it off, the out of possession tab, we are going to go with the higher defensive line, the high pressing line of engagement much more often, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and also get stuck in. So it is going to be a very aggressive tactic to play, this 4-2-3-1, but I think we've got the players to do it. We've got a very good bench. We've got some really energetic players in here we've not even talked about. The likes, obviously, we've got Anthony, we've got Garnacho, we've got Amrabat, who has got fantastic stats in this game. We've got some McTominay, we've got Ericsson, who I'm not really planning on keeping. Quite a fair few of these names I'm not going to actually keep, but I feel in this first season what we want to do is actually go into it with almost the same sort of team, bringing a few new faces in as we have done, but we'll see what we can do in the first season. I'm going to aim for the top 4 and hopefully maybe an English trophy. Let's see how we done. So the first season is going to be up, and you know what? It's a bit of a disappointing season, but it's a very good sort of settling season. We can see where we were strong, see where we were weak, and tweak the tactic around that. And you know what? We're going to take one positive. We are still going to be in the top 4, something we might not be doing in real life at the moment. So we're going to take it. It does appear that Rasmus Højlund had a fantastic season. We will look at the player stats more in depth. Don't you worry. Coming in with 30 goals in the season, 76 goals scored, 31 conceded. To be honest, we roughly got what we deserved. With third place, 4th in the rankings for both of them. Definitely improvement all around the board. Now, this can be down to the tactic, but also down to our players. The Champions League, better than what we've done in real life, but unfortunately not ideal. I mean, if we go to where we actually got knocked out, we've got to see here, it's quite a close one. Obviously 5-4 on aggregate. They obviously edged it when they were at home. It is what it is. The Carabao Cup, runners-up, extra time against Arsenal, and it gets even worse, guys. I'll be honest, as we are going to see the FA Cup also only a 1-goal deficit defeat. in the FA Cup as well. So that's 2 times Arsenal have beaten us, 3 times if you do include the Premier League. So that is going to be Arsenal winning the treble in this season. So fair play to them. You can tell it's a video game. Simple as that. No digs intended. But if we go over now, we'll look at the data hub. It's what we usually do with tactics, isn't it? So 2 goals per game, pretty consistent. 0.82 conceded, over 12.5 shots a game, and a pass completion of 89.06 with quite a good tackle win ratio as well. Now going over in terms of the team stats, we are going to feature in none of them, because again, we were 4th best in everything. But possession-wise, I'm quite happy with. I wanted to just pretty much showcase it to you guys, because 58% of the ball is not bad with a tactic in his first season, and especially with our players who I don't really think are instructed to really, keep it short all the time. Yes, a couple of them have got that on, but the sort of style we've got isn't all tiki-taka, is it? So I'm quite happy to see that in there. Going over to the squad, though, we are going to see some of the goal scorers, and that is going to be Højlund with 30, 22 for Bruno Fernandes, Martial with 21, 18 coming in for Rashford, not going to say that name, 7 for Mount, Sancho with 5 for Anthony. Quite a poor season, actually, from Anthony right there. Assist-wise, 22 coming in for Rashford, 17 for Bruno, Sancho with 11, 7, 7 and 7 for Shaw, Mount and Eriksen. Garnacho, shambolic season, probably didn't play too much, so I would imagine didn't really get much game time at all, so we need to sort of get him involved quite a fair bit more. Dallo as well, but the real standout player we can see here is going to actually be Marcus Rashford. Funny enough, a lot of United fans, including myself, would never have banked on that one, judging by his real life stuff. Rashford, Fernandes, Højlund are going to be your top performers who play quite a fair few games. There's some names I want to be seeing that are going to be doing quite well. But looking at this team, looking at what we've got to improve on, definitely we need improvement everywhere, to be honest. We need possibly even need more centre-backs, maybe a few more attackers as well. At this point of the save, it's very, very early on to pinpoint exactly what we need. Finance-wise, we're quite good. We've got £86.5 million to take in to that second transfer window. And the only thing I can think of now is to actually go into it and see what we can do. It's going to take a long time, so I'll cut back to the second transfer window. So don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything. This is still going to be not showing any of the new signings, but we did also manage to offload the likes of Harry Maguire for 10.7 million, Donny van der Beek to Fulham for 10.7 million, Brandon Williams to Leicester for £155,000, Malacia to Leicester for £40 million, and also Tyler Fredrickson to Leicester. Leicester signing 3 of our players. Very interesting scenes. But I wanted to showcase this so you sort of understand possibly how we got more money, because I'm now going to go over some of the names we brought in. The first one, for £19.2 million, Valentin Barker, a left-back to obviously replace Malacia, compete with Luke Shaw for a first-team spot, and I do think this is going to be a very influential signing. 20 years of age, obviously not played for the biggest teams ever, played for Boca Juniors, but his attributes look absolutely incredible, and again, wonder kid, he's fairly determined, a lot of green flags going in his favour. He did set me back, as I said, £19.2 million, and it is a bit of a risky signing potentially because he's not played really in a top European position before in terms of a club, but I do back him. He's usually a go-to option of mine, so we'll see how he does, but I think he's going to be fine. Next is going to be more of a backup centre-back. That is going to be Zeno de Bast. Now, this guy I have never signed in FM, I will be honest, and when you look at his roles and in terms of his current ability, you might be put off a little bit because he might not look the best, but I'll be real. Our budget was running out a little bit, and he was one of the better options to have. Again, he is going to be 20 years of age. He's got a perfectionist personality, and I genuinely believe this guy can become quite a good Premier League player. Now, he's not going to play every game by any means of the imagination, but when you're losing the likes of Maguire, obviously Lindelof, you need to start bringing in another option as well to have on the bench, and that's exactly what this guy was happy with doing. You can see here in the history, obviously previously at Anderlecht for, 6 years, then a little loan stint at Ipswich Town where he had quite an average season. I mean, a 6.78 isn't anything to write home about, but I do think for £20 million, it's an okay signing. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and say it's the best signing ever, because it probably isn't. But I think for a little backup option for 20 million, you can't really go wrong. The big boy signing of the window, 53 great British pounds. Nothing really great about Britain, but 53 million pounds. That is going to be Diamande coming in. Now, we have probably all used this guy at some point. Leave a like on the video if you have, because I'm pretty sure we have. He's absolutely incredible. He's quick. He's got great stamina. He's strong, great tackling, and he's only 20 years of age. Now, you can probably guess this guy cost me quite a fair bit of money to get into the club, not only in terms of how much he's going to cost me in transfer, but also he is on £160,000 a week, which is quite expensive in my opinion. But to give you that price tag exactly, £49 million. Obviously, I did say 65, that is with the instalments, with the add-ons, etc., etc., but Up front is going to be £49 million, 7.7 million Sporting only paid for him, so they have turned quite a tidy profit considering if everything goes right, they will get £65 million off us. And do you know what? I'm not fussed one bit because this guy's going to be in the team for every single season. What a signing. And lastly, I want another little backup option up front, a player that can play up top and also play out on the right-hand side. That is going to be Mbolo, a signing which might be a little bit unorthodox. I don't honestly imagine a lot of people will sign a player like this because it's probably not, you know, on these websites, the best wonder kids, etc., etc. But I'm quite different when it comes to signing players. I like to use people which I've come up against in the game. Maybe I like watching in real life. And Mbolo has been quite consistent in the Bundesliga for many seasons now. Obviously, that is where he spent majority of his time. A little stint at Monaco in this save you can see here as well. But in my opinion, for the price tag I'm going to show you in a minute, it's quite a bargain. He's quite quick, his finishing's good at 14, good composure, average composure actually I will say, good bravery, good aggression, good work rate. He can play up front, he can play on the right hand side, and as I said, for £25.5 million, I'm not going to complain. Now you can see here, Monaco turned quite a nice little tidy profit, around about £15 million to be exact, and we probably have overpaid a little bit too much for him, but we'll see how he does. As long as he can come on, maybe get an assist, grab a goal here and there, that's all I want from him. But in terms of the players that are going out on top of the ones I already show you, there's not too much to discuss. In fact, all of them aren't really anything. Apart from Hannibal, maybe, he's going to go to Brentford for £2.6 million. The rest of them are going to be loan options and obviously free transfers. Now, whenever you see a free one, so for example, like Shortier, I didn't obviously want to lose him on the free, but he did not want to have a new contract. I couldn't sell him or loan him, so he went out on the free. Not too much I could do. Palestri's quite a good talking point. I really want this guy to work, but he simply is not doing anything. And he's 22 years of age now. Now, it's not old for a player by any means of the imagination, but if he doesn't have a good loan spell here, there are going to be heavy questions asked of him, because it might be time to wave goodbye to Palestri. Well, Season 2 is done, and we have won a cup. It is going to be the Carabao Cup, probably one of the weaker ones to win, and it is going to be a goal from Mason Mount against Everton inside of the first minute. So it's looking good. On top of that, to be honest, I'm not going to be too disappointed, because we've maintained Champions League football, finishing in third place again. Ideally, would have worked a little bit up from that, but it is what it is. It's not the end of the world, is it? We are still progressing, and we have won a trophy now, so I'm not going to be as annoyed as what I potentially would have been. In terms of the other competitions, we are going to look at the Champions League. Unfortunately, Real Madrid are going to knock us out. Premier League, we've discussed. The FA Cup against Brighton in the 5th round is not going to be pretty. Did we get battered? We've got to go back quite some distance. That's not too bad. The 5th round, a goal. Extra time. It is what it is. I'm not too annoyed because we have lifted a trophy. Top 4. We can see now the new centre-backs or the new defensive signings and the defensive tweaks. I'm going to show you the tactic very shortly. The updated variant. Only 20 goals conceded in the season. We still need to score more goals in my opinion. We've got really good players, so it's just about getting the most out of them now. Finding the right tactic and really nailing down a certain system. We can see here Marcus Rashford with 30 goals. Bruno with 21 assists. Again, we will look into that very shortly. The team stats, though, we are going to feature in some of them now. The most shots at 570, the fewest conceded at 20, and the possession, 55%. So a little bit less possession, but we won a trophy, and also we're not conceding as many goals. Am I going to take it over more possession? You best bet I am, 100%. Going over to the data hub, though, we are also going to see 1.82 goals per game. So we are going to see a slight decline in goals, definitely less goals conceded, bang on 15 shots a game, a pass completion of 89.18, and a tackle win ratio of 76.6. So what we're seeing is, with this variant of the tactic, less goals being scored, better defensively, and clearly we've got a little bit of bottle because we are now winning trophies. The squad, however, we are going to see Marcus Rashford, 30 goals. Bruno Fernandes with 25, 21 for Højlund. We're not going to say his name. Jadon Sancho with 11, 8 for Palestri. Quite a good loan spell. Possibly could be a little bit better, to be honest with you. 7 for Mount. Luke Shaw coming in with 5. 4 for Garnacho. An injured Mbolo. 2 to 3 months. Not very good there at all. Doing pretty much what I expected, not doing anything too outrageous, but did contribute in some way with 4 goals and also 4 assists. Scott McTominay with 3, assist-wise, 21 for Bruno. That's ridiculous. That is a big drop-off, actually. 21 for Bruno Fernandes, and then it drops down all the way to 9. 9,866. Now, what I don't like here is we are relying on literally one man to pretty much get everything done in terms of creating chances. So this is definitely something I'm going to tweak. Maybe get another sort of creative spark in the team. Maybe really look at the winger options, because I do think there is definitely improvements to be made in them certain areas. But the tactic I used is now going to be a slightly updated variant of that V1. Again, we've got to stick to the 4-2-3-1 because it is working really, really well. But as you can see here, the advanced forward remains the same. A few more instructions, actually. Pass it shorter, run from position, and tackle harder. The winger, I believe, does remain the same. The attacking midfield player goes to attack now. The winger on the right is going to be on support on pass it shorter. These two remain untouched, so I'm not going to waste your time. Or actually, I do think this got one change. Get further forwards and also mark tighter. A complete wing back on the right on support, on close down more, and tackle harder. 2 ball-playing defenders now both on the default, and the inverted wing-back goes on to support now, on close down more, and also tackle harder. And the goalkeeper remained untouched. Team instruction-wise, though, we are going to see a little bit of a change going on. So it is going to be passing to space, the overlap left, the overlap right, focus down the left, focus down the right. It all rhymes. Give the video a like. That even rhymed as well. Play out of defence, shorter, higher tempo. In transition, we are going to see counter press, counter, distribute to the centre-backs, the full-backs, and also taking short goal kicks. And out of possession, it is going to be that standard line, the high-pressing line of engagement, much more often, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and also get stuck in, on the positive mentality, all based off a clean slate. Now, I will say, this is the tactic that obviously got the results we just had. Now, I think this tactic still needs a couple of tweaks. Maybe Sancho going attacking could be a big one. Maybe even... the reason I had Mason Mount on get further forwards is because I wanted more from him in terms of assists. Now, clearly that hasn't worked, so I might have to have a little bit of a sort of revamp of this system, see what we can do, see what we can change, or maybe even bring in some new players, because I'm looking down this list right now, and realistically, so Onana can stay, he can stay, he can stay, he can stay, he can stay. Anyone that I want to get rid of right away. Christian Eriksen, he needs to go in my opinion. Kobe Mainu is going to stay 100%, but he needs to start playing. I might even lock him in a position, to be honest with you, because he's got tons of talent. Anthony, I'm going to be honest, mate, I want you gone. He's absolutely abysmal, but he literally is refusing to leave, so that's not ideal. Dalot can stay for now, to be honest with you. I'm not going to talk about it. Oh, by the way, I will say, I didn't even mention it. Cavani did come in, more of a nostalgic signing. I am a United fan. He done absolutely nothing, so he can go as well. And Bolo's going to stay. Garnacho needs to do more, but needs more game time as well. So there's still a lot to do in terms of the signings. Finance-wise, it's going to be very similar budget. It's going to be £92 million, £93 million to spend in this third transfer window, and we've got players to sell as well. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take some time. I've just briefly talked over what we need. To be honest, we need more attacking players, so we'll go into that third transfer window, see what magic we can do. So the first player to bring a little bit more of a rotational side is going to be Pedro Goncalves from Sporting, a very similar player to Bruno Fernandes, and he did cost us a fair bit to get into the team, but he just reminds me of a bit of a younger Bruno Fernandes, to be honest with you. Very good on the ball, and still got a few years to play. He is 27. He's not as young, obviously, as, you know, if I was to sign a 24-year-old midfield player, for example, but he's got very similar traits to Bruno Fernandes, and I think is going to be a very valuable player in this team. Now, also another addition I didn't even talk about is going to be the fact he can play on the left, which could be handy if we have injuries. He can play a little bit deeper in sort of an advanced playmaker, central midfield player, Roman playmaker if we ever went down that path, but obviously he can cover everywhere, basically, and if he needed to, I wouldn't really want him to do so, but he could even play on the right-hand side as an inside forwards. Now, when we look at how much he cost us, he did cost us £65 million, so it's going to be quite a fair bit of money in my opinion, but we look at his last 2 seasons here for Sporting. Now, I know it is the Portuguese league. A lot of people will say, look, it's not the Premier League, Josh. He's not going to replicate that, but an average of a 7.34, 7.45, had quite a good season. 16 goals, 4 assists, 12 and 2, sorry, there. Player of the matches as well. He's having quite a good time of recent years, so I thought 65 million, probably about right what you'd pay in today's football market. Up next is going to be maybe a bit of an unrealistic signing, but it is going to be Agate, obviously coming from PSG. Very surprised this guy even wanted to talk to me, but the 24-year-old Uruguayan DM is the perfect option I'm going to need for the ball-winning midfielder slot, with 18 tackling, 19 aggression, 18 teamwork, 18 work rate, great stamina, great balance, great natural fitness. He essentially is a very, very aggressive, hard-working DM. Now, the definition of a DM is hard-working and aggressive, so I don't care how much we paid for him. it's going to be a bargain in my eyes. £180,000 per week and £56 million, which I will say, I don't think is too bad, considering PSG paid 51. We're only paying an extra £5 million. He's now got 2 years of experience in another top European team, and he is only still 24 years of age. So in my opinion, a massive, good, a ridiculous signing. And up next, the Portuguese theme is going to be João Neves, probably the most popular wonder kid in FM24. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But this guy is absolutely incredible. Already a leading Premier Division player at the age of 20. He is on £190,000 a week, so yeah, not ideal when it comes to the wage. But what you're getting with this guy is perfection, could be the word I'm looking for, because he can play everywhere in midfield. He can play deeper. He can also play obviously further up the field, and he's just a really good player to have in the team. It's as simple as that. He can do everything. He's got fantastic attributes from the start. Yes, he did cost us £62 million, and again, very similar to the likes of Goncalves. It might be a bit of a gamble buying from Portugal, but at the end of the day, it has a good track record, so I'm not too unconfident in this signing. I think he's going to come in. I think he might have a sort of a settle-in season where he might be a little bit quiet, but I think the fourth season we're going to go into after this third one, I think he's going to take over this team by storm. Let me know in the comments, though, if you would put this guy in the top wonder kid slot in FM. Up next, I can't stop signing midfield players. I don't know what is wrong with me. I've got a midfield bug. It is going to be Lazar Samanic. Now, this guy, again, very risky. Coming from UTD, he's not the most competitive sort of team to play for, but he has got tons of potential. 23 years of age, and he was happy sort of just coming into the team and playing when we need him. He's on a fair whack of £145,000 a week, but we look at this player, and in terms of an attacking midfield player, in terms of a shadow striker, exactly what you want he is going to have. Technique, passing, long shots, first touch, dribbling, flair, vision, everything you want for an attacking midfield player this guy has, and very similar to the likes of João Neves, he can also play in different roles. So at this point of the save, we might still change formation. We might actually need him to play a little bit deeper, so I was targeting players that can do both very comfortably, and he fell right into that category. He did cost me £41 million, so we're definitely getting through that budget. Last up, a player who I have heard nothing but praise for since this game has come out, and a player I have never used. That is going to be the Moroccan guy, Ez Abdi. What a player himself, from previously Real Haspalis, obviously previously of Barcelona as well. Now, the reason I went with this guy, again, multiple reasons, I can give you three. The first one, versatile. Can play on the left-hand side, up front, in the middle, and on the right. Second, potential. Tons of potential, only 23 years of age, and already is going to be an elite winger, which just speaks levels of how good this guy is. And the third reason, how good he is in game. I mean, the attributes are absolutely off the charts. He is rapid, he's got good agility, good finishing, good composure, good flair, good technique. Really the complete package. But when you get a complete package, you've got to pay to have a complete package player. £205,000 a week and £74 million. So Real Haspalis made quite the tidy profit. But you might say, Josh, how have you brought in these players? Well, this is going to explain it. So I will say every single player you're going to see on the out tab here was not a decision made by me without having to be forced into it. So Daniel Gore goes to Fulham for £8.7 million. Casemiro for £41.5 million goes to Al Ali. I'm not going to Ali. I don't want to butcher it, but I think that's how you say it. This guy, I didn't want to lose him. I wanted him for another season because I think he was going to be still a big part of trying to balance ourselves in the Champions League, to be honest. But when £40 million come in, he wanted the move as well. I mean, he is on £1.3 million a week. So at the end of the day, obviously he's going to want to move. One last big move in his career. And we are losing a fantastic player, but I think Ugarte does pretty much balance that sort of loss out, in my opinion. The next up is going to be Bruno Fernandes. Now, as a Manchester United fan, it was absolutely heartbreaking to lose him. £93 million, though, to the same team. Now, again, gutted, because although he is 30, he's still got many years to play for Manchester United, in my opinion. And he was literally part of the project. Right from the start, the whole team was being built around him. But unfortunately, when he's getting paid £1.3 million a week as well, he's going to want to move. So hopefully Goncalves can step up. But that is going to be your players going in, or the players coming in, and the players going out. I think I've done okay. What I will say is, though, going into that third season, we are going to actually be playing the same system. If I change it towards the end, I will let you know. But the teams it's looking nice now. We've got Onana, we've got Alte, obviously, as backup. Right back, we've got Dalot, Vanderson, obviously, Lutz-Stroll coming in. Centre-backs, we're going to have Lisandro Martinez and Luke Shaw. Christian Romero. Obviously, a few of these aren't actually centre-backs, so I'll just read them out who are going to be playing there. So Martinez, Romero, Debast, and Diamande. I think those 4 centre-backs are going to be the 4 for the entire save. Left-back, we've obviously got Luke Shaw, and also we've got Barco. Want to see quite a bit from Barco, to be honest with you. Midfield, we've got Mount, we've got Mainu, we've got Barco, McTominay, Goncalves, Ugarte, Neves, and obviously Lazar himself. In the middle, very similar story, very similar players. On the right-hand side, we've got Garnacho, Sancho, Anthony, Mount, Palestri, and Bolo. Obviously, Abdi as well. And on the left, we've got Rashford, Garnacho, very similar players. And up front, a lot of options as well. So, I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like we're already slowly building a bit of a powerhouse team right now. But we're only going to tell in the results. Let's get into the third season. Right, the third season has been done, and you know what? It's absolutely magical because we have won the Premier League just inside of 3 seasons. Unfortunately, the other cups are a little bit embarrassing, I will be real, especially the Carabao Cup, as it is going to be Derby knocking us out in the 3rd round, which we are going to go and have a little look at right now. That is going to be on penalties. I dread to think what team we played for that game, though, for that to happen. Barcelona in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Was it a battering? No. Oh, actually, where it is now. 2-0. Not too embarrassing. And obviously the FA Cup here against Chelsea in the semi-finals, where we actually lost on penalties again. So not too bad at the end of the day, but ideally we need to start winning at least 2 trophies a season. What I will say is the update to the tactic and the new additions has clearly worked in the league. 98 league goals scored, which is quite an improvement. Only 29 conceded. It appears that Abdi has come in and had a great first season. Højlund, Mr. Consistent. Marcus Rashford, Mr. Consistent. Who would have thought it? In terms of the league table as well, we're actually quite convinced of the favourites. 84 points obviously winning the league. Man City, Arsenal and Newcastle maintain the Champions League spots. And Everton get in the Europa League, which I'm pretty sure any Everton fan right now would literally bite your hand off to have that. Team stats we are going to look at, and we are going to be quite convincing in these. Most points per game, most goals at 98, the most shots at 726, the fewest shots against at 259. Possession, it is going down. We're slowly fading away from that possession-based football, but we are bringing in trophies, so what would you prefer? In my eyes, trophies, and the fewest conceded at 29. Data hub-wise, it is going to be 2.58 goals per game, a conceded at 0.76, which I'm going to take. We are now scoring quite a fair few more goals. Yes, the conceded has gone up a little bit by 0.2, I believe, but we're winning trophies within the Premier League. We're scoring over 2 goals a game. We've averaged an extra 4 shots per game over this last season, an 88.53% pass completion, and the tackle win ratio, yes, could do with a little bit of an improvement, but it's the least of my worries. I'll be real. In terms of the squad, though, what's actually been going on then? So 34 goals coming in from Højlund, Rashford with 29, 13 for Pedro. Quite a good first season, actually. 10 for Abdi, João Neves with 10, 10 for Mason Mount, Romero with 8 as well, Garnacho with 6, assists, we've got 18 for Abdi. What a first season from the Starboy. 15 for Rashford, 13 for Mount, Neves with 12, Shaw for 10, 9 for Pedro, 9 for Sancho, 7 for Rasmus. I mean, basing it off that alone, what I'm seeing is a team. I'm seeing a team now. We're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players with 10 plus assists. What about the ratings? It officially is going to be Marcus Rashford being the best player across all the competitions, all the season, based off the rating. Then it's going to be Abdi, who, by the way, has come in and really started picking up a storm, developing nicely as well in terms of a player, and really contributing massively to this team. Højlund, 3rd place, we're going to take that as well, really developing into some player on this save as well. And I'm just really happy with how this has gone. And don't get me wrong, going into the next season, we are going to have quite a generous £45 million. But I mean, looking at the team, there's not like lots I really want to change. There's not loads. So it's going to take quite an impressive player to sort of sway my head to change the players we've got now. Or maybe a player comes to me and says, Josh, I want to leave. I don't want to play here anymore. I will go and deal with the contracts because I'm pretty sure there's quite a fair few which need them. So we're in 2026 now. You can see here, if we actually filter by this, we are going to actually see Lisandro Martinez needs one. Anthony, who I want to sell. Please go to Bournemouth. What a move that would be. Luke Shaw, Scott McTominay, outtake. Yeah, we've got quite a bit of business to do. I'm going to go get stuck in. Right, I'm going to keep it very honest with you guys at the end of the day. We actually brought in no players because there was no one on the market, and I'm a big advocate of not spending when you don't need to spend. Last window, we brought in so many top quality players. I didn't want to overcomplicate things, but The likes of Anthony finally left on the free. The only way I could get rid of him, because he was not doing anything, he was soaking up loads of wages, he was just causing us loads of issues. And to be honest, it clearly had quite a good effect, because these are going to be the results for that fourth season. We have won the treble, that being the Champions League against Barcelona, the Premier League against everyone, and the Community Shield against Chelsea. Also getting to the semi-finals against Arsenal, where unfortunately we are going to lose on, where is it? Oh my God, what a game that was. 6-5 on aggregate. We actually bottled that, to be honest with you then. And the FA Cup against Aston Villa in the semi-finals, where they actually won on penalties. But to be honest, I'm not too fussed. The Champions League against Barcelona, we're going to watch that game to see what happens. And the Community Shield against Chelsea, a 2-0 win. We're not going to complain. And it is going to be Rashford and Mount getting the goals in that game. But 4 seasons in, to be winning the treble, I'm going to take that any day of the week. Stat lines as well do not lie. It's going to be goals, 96, 29 conceded, 0 goals, 0 red cards being gained as well. Højlund, I don't know what's happened. I am praying to the gods Højlund has not fallen off, as it is going to be Marcus Rashford with 35 goals, and I don't mind that he can play up front. Abdi, 26 assists. Low-key has got a very good shout of being the best signing of the rebuild. Now, the Premier League was very, very close. Man City only 3 points behind. Chelsea and Arsenal picking up the Champions League spots. And this is a much more realistic table. Unfortunately, Leeds, you are going to be going down. Where are the likes of Leicester? Obviously, they had an okay season, coming in at 14th. Everton back in 17th place, as you probably expect. Team stat wise, we're going to feature in 5 again. The most points per game, the most goals at 96, the most shots for at 626, the fewest shots against, and also the fewest conceded. Data hub wise, 2.53 goals a game, a 78.44 tackle win ratio, an 89.03 pass completion, 16.47 shots per game, and conceded at 0.76. Now, we'll let you into a little secret. I did tweak the tactic mid-season, so we're going to break that down for you very shortly. But first, let's go over to that squad and understand what happened. He didn't fall off, thank God, and I'm seeing a nice mixture now. We've got Rashford, 35. We've got Højlund coming in with 31. We've got Mount coming in with 20. Abdi with 14. 13 for Goncalves. Romero with 9. 8 for Mbolo, who is doing exactly what I want him to be doing. Assist-wise, we're going to have 26 for Abdi. Rashford with 19. 17 for Mount. Ugarte with 13. 10 for Neves. Lazar coming in with 8. Luke Shaw with 7. Treble 6 there. No devil pun intended. 4 coming in for Pedro. Sancho, who... I'm going to be real with Jadon. I keep him because I like him. That's the only reason. I'm a real big Jadon Sancho advocate, and I do not want to sell him. But even now, even me might have to get rid of him. I will say, contracts, we need to get busy, because obviously we're going to see this right now. We are going to have one player here, 2028. Obviously, that is going to be midway through next season. So Romero, De Bast, Vanderson, Højlund, Rashford, Mount, Shaw, McTominay, Gertruda, Onana, Palestri, Dallo, and Bolo, Garnacho, Kobe Mainu. This next transfer window, you do not want to miss it. It might be a complete breakdown. It's going to be a complete breakdown. These players are not going to want to stay. Look at the wanted signs down this side. It's going to be pain. It's going to be pain. I'm going to show you what we've got to work with anyway. We have got a budget of £56 million, and the tactic is now going to be a V3, a bit of a different variant of this tactic. A pressing forward is going to come in, and he's going to be on attack, on pass at shorter, and roam from position. An inside forward on the left now, that is going to be Marcus Rashford, who it won't let me show his instructions, but it is going to be get further forwards, cut inside, and shorter passing. In the middle, the advanced playmaker on the default, a winger on the right on attack, on pass at shorter, a ball-winning midfield player on the right on defend, and a ball-winning midfield player again on support on mark tighter. A wing-back on the right now, on support, on close down more, a stopper, ball-playing defender on the default, a default ball-playing defender on defend, and an inverted wing-back for Mr. Luke Shaw on defend, on close down more, and tackle harder. Team instructions, positive mentality again, pass into space, overlap right, play out from defence, a shorter passing directness, a higher tempo, be more expressive, and also mixed crosses. In transition, we're going to have counter press, counter, distribute to the fullbacks and the centre-backs, all while taking short goal kicks. Out of possession, it's going to be that standard line, the high pressing line of engagement, much more often, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and also get stuck in. If you are getting too many bookings, simply untick that. But to be honest, I'm now incredibly stressed, because we've got to go into this last transfer window Let's see what we can do, because this might get ugly. You're not going to want to miss it. Oh, I'm going to be real. Every single player you saw on that screen, we have managed to keep at the club. Now, that took up quite a fair bit of my salary in terms of money, and I didn't want to go too crazy into the last season, so I brought in one player being Louis Openda from RB Leipzig, and he is going to be a backup / competitor for Haaland. Højlund, very easy to get confused, I will say that. This guy's actually very, very good. He is 27 years of age, his attributes are really good, 16 acceleration, 15 pace, 16 finishing, good composure, good off-the-ball work as well. Played for some good teams as well, RB Leipzig, Lens, Bruges, Vitesse, and obviously, again, Club Bruges there. He cost us a total of £55 million, which, granted, is a little bit more than RB Leipzig paid. He scored 12 goals last season for RB Leipzig, and I'm hoping for us he can come in and sort of do a bit of a backup job for Højlund, who unfortunately is a little bit injury-prone, as I've been witnessing so far in this save. Now, going into this last season, I'm going to be real with you guys. I really want to try and at least do the double. We've done the treble. I think it's unrealistic to ask for that again. Although we have brought in another player, we will see every single player at the club now is going to be happy, though, because they're on a contract. Everyone's happy. No one's wanted by anyone. The whole ship has been completely parked up, and we're ready to win everything. Let's get into the last season and see what we can do. Didn't watch the highlights from last season, did we? So let's just say what we won this year by looking at the highlights. The Champions League final does go in our favour against PSG, a very good team to face in the final. Great play there into Pedro, past Donnarumma. Trophy 1. Trophy 2. The Carabao Cup against West Ham. A very, very comfortable final, we shall say. A bit of an interesting goal as Conan does dive the wrong way there, and Marcus Rashford gets the game wrapped up in 75 minutes. Trophy number 3. That is going to be pre-season Community Shield against Liverpool in a 5-1 win. That is right, a 5-1 win, a very comfortable final against this Liverpool team, a very bitter rival of ours. And to be fair to them, they were awful. Simple as that. They're our rivals. I'm not going to give them any credit, even for the goal they scored. A fantastic goal from us right there. They do get a goal here, not to be fair to them. It's lucky, deflection, offside, red card, whatever it is. We're not going to give them credit. We do score an extra 3, though, after conceding that. Abdi on the ball, into Vanderson, down the right-hand side, back into Abdi. What a right-hand side, into the best striker in the Prem in real life. A fantastic finish from him. Pedro Goncalves into Gertruda, into Neves, into Ugarte. I feel like I'm reading out a Ballon d'Or list right now. Fantastic, into the bottom left-hand corner. Incredible stuff. One more goal. Who's going to score it? Get your comments in. McTominay. The last trophy, I can't really show you a highlight, but it is going to be the Premier League. So that is right, a quadruple winning season for season number 5. What a time to be alive. 4 in 5 in terms of the last one. 87 goals scored, 29 conceded. Yes, quite a fair few red cards. Do I have any care in my body? Absolutely not. We dominated the Premier League with 87 points compared to Arsenal with 78. Man City have fallen off big time, as it is going to be a disaster for them. Liverpool and Tottenham, as Aston Villa really pushing up the rankings right now. Team stat-wise, we are going to see most points per game. Sorry, most goals at 87, the most shots at 705, the fewest shots against at 278, most possession at 55%, the fewest conceded at 29. Data hub-wise, 2.29, 0.76 conceded. Conceding way under a goal a game now with this tactic, which, by the way, has been updated one last final time. More to cater for the players we've got now. Over 2 goals a game consistently, averaging 18 to 19 shots every game, an 89.28% pass completion. And what you get with this tactic is what you're going to see on the screen. Lots of different players getting involved. 28 goals for Rasmus, 25 for Marcus, Mason with 19, Pedro with 15, João Neves with 13, 11 for the new man Openda, 9 for Jadon, who had an okay last season, 8 for Abdi. Assist-wise, very similar. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players with 10 plus assists, and the average rating is going to go to Marcus Rashford, who I will say, despite the stick he's getting in real life, has had one hell of a rebuild in this save. He really has. Because picking up the last season average rating, Mason Mount, João Neves, obviously Højlund, Goncalves, a lot of the new boys as well also contribute massively. I am including Højlund in that conversation alongside with Mount. They are new to the club, unlike Marcus Rashford. But going over to the finances, if we were going to carry this on, and I do want to say right now, if you want to carry this on, the file download is going to be on the Patreon, which you can download in the description below, where you're going to get all of these tactics as well, and over 6 other perks. So definitely check it out. You're now going to get about 10 perks just from being a Patreon alone, and you can take over this save. I will say though, What we've built here has been absolutely nothing short of a miracle. I will be honest, it's been absolutely incredible. If we go to the tactic right now to give you one last breakdown of the final tactic variant for this team, it is going to be, we'll look at the players first, it's going to be Onana, Vanderson, Romero, Diamande, Martinez, Ugarte, Neves, Mount, Abdi, Rashford, Højlund. Then we go down the list, we've got so many players. We've got Mbolo, we've got Dalot, we've got Barco, Mano, Romero, obviously we've gone through some of these, Sancho, Palestri, Lazar, Abdi, Apenda, Dabas, Garnacho, Vanderson, Gertruda. It's a really solid team, guys. It really is. We've almost got like two of each players that are really, really good quality in each position. I will quickly remove this to make the tactic a little bit easier to actually see. And as you can see, the goalkeeper remains unchanged. The wing-back is going to be on support, on close down more, and also tackle harder. A stopping ball-playing defender, a default ball-playing defender. This remains unchanged, the inverted wing-back role on defend. The ball and midfield player on the left is now on support, on mark tighter. A box-to-box on the default, because I really noticed this was helping going forwards and actually scoring goals. Two ball and midfield players worked well for that season, but not consistently carrying on. The winger on the right remained unchanged for several seasons, on pass it shorter. The inside forward is a really good option to have. We did add shoot more often because Rashford has got one hell of a shot on him. Sort of makes sense to have it on. The shadow striker is going to be on the default, and I went back to the advanced forward on pass it shorter, run from position, and tackle harder, simply because that's the best results we got with Højlund, to be honest with you. Team instructions, again, positive mentality. The only change I believe compared to the last variant would be the addition of being more expressive. In transition, exactly the same. And out of possession, again, exactly the same. So hopefully you guys have like this sort of different way of making tactic videos. The only way I'm going to know is judging by the likes in the comments. So please do consider liking or leaving a comment on what you think. For me personally, as a curator, I've had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun making a video like this. It's nice to actually make a tactic, change it over a few seasons, and also it makes me feel better about having the Patreon because I can give more stuff back to you guys. You're going to get like 4 tactical files, a rebuild file, literally everything. So it also gives you guys more content, which you can get from that side of things as well. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, please do leave a like, drop a little comment below. Be sure to subscribe because we're pushing for 20k, hopefully by sort of February, March. We'll see what happens. But enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.